Hi, good morning. Today the lesson will be about Dubliners, written by J.Joyce in 1914, and in particular about the last chapter, the 15th chapter, entitled The Dead. Before reading the text together and analyze it, I'm just showing you some pictures. So I will share the screen to show two slides. Okay, so the setting is a Christmas party given by Julia and Kate Morgan, two aunts of Gabriel Conroy, who is the main protagonist, together with his wife Greta. This party is given every year, and as every year, Gabriel, as you can see in this picture, gives his speech because it's really appreciated, and he is also an embodiment of Joyce himself because he is a professor. But the dinner and the evening hasn't been so good because Gabriel is accused to be West Britain. That means to be someone who supported Great Britain instead of Ireland from a young woman. But more than because of this, because Greta, his wife, Greta is wife. This is the typical image that normally is used to explain this chapter. Here's a song, The Lass of Ogrim, that means the girl of Ogrim, that reminds him about Michael Fury. Michael Fury was an ex-lover who had died for her when he was 17 years old. So Ogrim is a county in Galway. And so just to say that the setting is Ireland, and we don't have to forget it. Greta, so now before reading the text, they are coming back, so I can stop sharing this and I wanted to share the screen with the, where is it? I think it's so here. Yes. So be prepared because we're going to read the text. You have on page 257 or photocopy. So Gabriel's epiphany is the moment when Gabriel had this clear comprehension of his existence, and in particular about his marriage with Greta. So before falling asleep, Greta, so the moment of this description of this text in the book, Gabriel and Greta have just come back to their hotel's room, and Gabriel is very passionate and he wants to have sex with Greta, but Greta, because of this song, The Lass of Ogrim, that had made her thinking to Michael, is really melancholic, and he refuses. And she said that she believes that it was because of Michael's insistence to meet her when they were both 17 that he died, because he went outside Greta's house and he waited for her in winter and cold and the rain, and so he was sick and that's why he died. So in this moment Greta feels full of sadness, and he thinks about this ex-lover of her. Then, after she refuses Gabriel's proposal to have sex, she falls asleep, and that's the moment when this story, this text begins.
James Joyce, Gabriel's Epiphany. She was fast asleep. Gabriel, leaning on his elbow, looked for a few moments unresentfully on her tangled hair and half-open mouth, listening to her deep-drawn breath. So she had had that romance in her life. A man had died for her sake. It hardly pained him now to think how poor a part he, her husband, had played in her life. He watched her while she slept as though he and she had never lived together as man and wife.
Okay, so in these first lines, it's clear that it's only Gabriel's thoughts. So that's the particular narrative technique for Joyce to express the characters' thoughts as they happen. That's a kind of interior monologue. Okay, so this is in Italian translation. Lei era quasi addormentata. Gabriel, appoggiato al suo, quindi piegato sul suo gomito, on his elbow, la guardò per qualche momento, senza risentimento, verso su, sarebbe letteralmente, sui suoi capelli arruffati e la bocca semiaperta, ascoltando il suo respiro profondo. Così lei aveva avuto quella storia d'amore nella sua vita. Un uomo era morto per suo amore, per amore suo. Lo addolorava appena adesso pensare a quanto povera parte, quindi quanto poca parte, lui, suo marito, aveva avuto nella sua vita. La osservava mentre lei dormiva, come se lui e lei non erano mai vissuti insieme come moglie e marito. Okay, so in this part, you can see that when Gabriel think this sentence, so she had that romance in her life, is clearly the narration of the past. In fact, Joyce uses the past perfect. But immediately there is a shifting of time because Gabriel's thoughts are mixed in his mind. And then he changes because when he says, it hardly pains him now, this is the narration of the present. Because he says, adesso lo addolorava poco. So there is this now, and more than this, the use of the simple present. Let's go on.
His curious eyes rested long upon her face and on her hair. And as he thought of what she must have been then, in that time of her first girlish beauty, a strange friendly pity for her entered his soul. He did not like to say even to himself that her face was no longer beautiful, but he knew that it was no longer the face for which Michael Fury had braved death.
Okay, this is how it goes in Italian. His curious eyes, quindi i suoi curiosi occhi, si soffermarono a lungo sulla sua faccia e sui suoi capelli, e mentre pensava a cosa doveva essere stata lei allora, in quel tempo della sua prima bellezza di ragazza, una strana, strange, friendly pity, quindi una strana amichevole pietà, gli entrò nell'anima. Questa è una conseguenza. This is a consequence of the epiphany that he had in the third line. No, it's in the third line. This is the epiphany. So she had that romance in her life. It's this external stimulus, this consideration, this epiphany that makes him changing totally the view he had about his marriage. Okay? And as a consequence, this pity for her entered his soul. So he's not angry anymore. Because he says, una strana, amichevole pietà per lei entrò nella sua anima. A lui non piaceva dire neanche a se stesso che la faccia di lei non era più bella, ma sapeva, he knew, che non era più la faccia per la quale Michael Furey aveva affrontato la morte.
Perhaps she had not told him all the story. His eyes moved to the chair over which she had thrown some of her clothes. A petticoat string dangled to the floor. One boot stood upright, its limp upper fallen down. The fellow of it lay upon its side. He wondered at his riot of emotions of an hour before. From what had it proceeded?
Okay, so his stream of consciousness, his thoughts are continuously creating in his mind about the past and the present considerations. So where did we start? Yes, perhaps she had not told him all the story. Of course, now Gabriel is doubtful. Quindi forse lei non gli aveva raccontato tutta la storia, so now he's getting a little bit jealous. And i suoi occhi si spostarono sulla sedia verso la quale lei aveva gettato alcuni vestiti. Un laccio della sottoveste, petticoat, penzolava sul pavimento. Uno stivale stava dritto e la sua parte floscia superiore cadeva da una parte, mentre il suo compagno, chiaramente l'altro stivale, era steso di lato. He wondered at his riot of emotions, da cui era stata originata l'Epifania, quindi lui si meravigliò, he wondered, per l'esplosione delle emozioni dell'ora precedente. From what had it proceeded? Da cosa era dipesa?
From his aunt's supper, from his own foolish speech, from the wine and dancing, the merrymaking when saying good night in the hall, the pleasure of the walk along the river in the snow. Poor Aunt Julia! She too would soon be a shade with the shade of Patrick Morkan and his horse.
Okay, now again, his thoughts can't be arrested because he's considering, he's doubtful. From what it had proceeded, quindi da cosa era dipesa la sua esplosione di emozioni, e fa una serie di considerazioni. Dalla cena, from his own supper, quindi dalla cena di sua zia, dal suo proprio sciocco discorso, dal vino, dal ballo, dal divertimento, quando dicevano, si erano detti buonanotte all'ingresso, dalla piacevole camminata lungo il fiume nella neve, Povera zia Giulia, anche lei pure sarebbe stata un'ombra nell'ombra di Patrick Morcan e il suo cavallo. Patrick Morcan era il fratello delle zie, quindi di Giulia e di Kate Morcan, ed era stato ferito a cavallo, quindi per quello fa questa associazione.
He had caught that haggard look upon her face for a moment when she was singing Arrayed for the Bridal. Soon, perhaps, he would be sitting in the same drawing room, dressed in black, his silk hat on his knees. The blinds would be drawn down, and Aunt Kate would be sitting beside him, crying and blowing her nose, and telling him how Julia had died.
Ok. Quindi lui aveva preso, ho visto, quello sparuto, aveva fatto quello sparuto sguardo sulla faccia di lei per un momento, quando lei stava cantando Arrayed for the Bridal, letteralmente significa abbigliato per la sposa. It's an English version of a song from Bellini's opera, I Puritani. Presto, forse, si sarebbe seduto in quel piccolo salotto vestito di nero col cappello di seta sulle ginocchia, ancora fa riferimento all'ipotesi che la zia Giulia sarebbe morta presto. Le persiane, the blinds, le persiane si sarebbero abbassate e zia Kate si sarebbe seduta accanto a lui, piangendo e soffiandosi il naso e raccontandogli come Giulia era morta. Quindi già qui c'è il riferimento ai morti, perché tutto in questo passaggio, come abbiamo detto all'inizio del titolo, permea di morte la narrazione. Andiamo avanti.
He would cast about in his mind for some words that might console her, and he would find only lame and useless ones. Yes, yes, that would happen very soon.
Ok, e qui c'è un altro cambiamento di tempo, quindi traduzione. Lui avrebbe cercato nella sua mente alcune parole che might console her, che avrebbero potuto consolarla, e avrebbe trovato soltanto quelle inutili e banali, lame and useless. Sì, sarebbe successo molto presto. Qui l'uso è del condizionale o comunque di un futuro e quindi there is at the same time consideration about the past, what he feels at the present moment and what he foresee for the future. This is Joyce's and also Virginia Woolf and also the modernist writers' technique. No chronological order and the character thoughts all displayed mixed together. Let's go on.
The air of the room chilled his shoulders. He stretched himself cautiously along under the sheets and lay down beside his wife. One by one, they were all becoming shades. Better pass boldly into that other world, in the full glory of some passion, than fade and wither dismally with age.
Ok, the air of the room, quindi l'aria della stanza raffreddò le sue spalle. Si stretched, allungò cautamente sotto le lenzuola e si distese a fianco di sua moglie. Uno ad uno stavano tutti diventando ombre. Meglio passare coraggiosamente nell'altro mondo, nella piena gloria di qualche passione, che sbiadire e appassire con l'età. So these are the considerations that Gabriel makes about the fact that probably his marriage is a fake one, and he's considering that living without being appreciated as a shade, that's the simile, isn't so nice, is something that no one could wish for himself. Andiamo avanti.
He thought of how she who lay beside him had locked in her heart for so many years that image of her lover's eyes when he had told her that he did not wish to live. Generous tears filled Gabriel's eyes. He had never felt like that himself towards any woman, but he knew that such a feeling must be love.
Ok, so, quindi lui pensò, he thought, a come colei che giaceva accanto a lui avesse rinchiuso nel suo cuore per tanti anni quell'immagine, l'immagine di Michael Fury, l'immagine degli occhi del suo innamorato quando lui le aveva detto che non voleva più vivere. Generous tears filled Gabriel's eyes. Lacrime generose, copiose, riempirono gli occhi di Gabriel. E questo, in this moment, the epiphany he felt at the beginning as his physical consequence, because Gabriel changes totally. It's the death of his egoism. Non si era mai sentito in quel modo verso nessuna donna, ma sapeva che un tale sentimento doveva essere amore.
The tears gathered more thickly in his eyes, and in the partial darkness, he imagined he saw the form of a young man standing under a dripping tree. Other forms were near. His soul had approached that region where dwell the vast hosts of the dead. He was conscious of, but could not apprehend, their wayward and flickering existence. His own identity was fading out into a grey, impalpable world. The solid world itself, which these dead had one time reared and lived in, was dissolving and dwindling.
Ok. Le lacrime si accumularono, gathered more thickly in his eyes, quindi più fitte nei suoi occhi, e nella parziale oscurità immaginò di vedere la figura di un giovane in piedi sotto un albero gocciolante. That is the way how Michael Fury died. Altre forme erano vicine. La sua anima, his soul, si era avvicinata a quella regione dove vivono le vaste schiere dei morti. Egli ne era consapevole, ma non poteva percepire la loro imprevedibile e vacillante esistenza. His own identity, la sua stessa identità, stava scomparendo in un mondo grigio e impalpabile. Il mondo reale stesso, in cui questi morti, and that's the focus and the title of the chapter, These Dead, quindi il mondo reale in cui questi morti erano una volta cresciuti e vissuti, si stava dissolvendo e scomparendo. With this line finishes the first part, which is the part when Gabriel's is full of emotions. We should say something about the consideration that now is making about whole existence, because before knowing Greta's feelings for Michael, who had died for her, he had a different consideration about dead people. He considered them dead, gone, but now he's changing his mind because he understands that probably Greta is still in love because Michael was full of passion for her. In fact, he has showed her love uh, going to her home, even if it was winter, while Gabriel was probably unable or has been too busy with his job and didn't consider Greta's feelings. And now he is aware of this. This is also a consideration that we could make considering the two names that Joyce uses. Anyway, I'll tell you at the end.
A few light taps upon the pane made him turn to the window. It had begun to snow again. He watched sleepily the flakes, silver and dark, falling obliquely against the lamplight. The time had come for him to set out on his journey westward. Yes, the newspapers were right. Snow was general all over Ireland. It was falling on every part of the dark central plain, on the treeless hills, falling softly upon the bog of Allen, and farther westward, softly falling into the dark, mutinous Shannon waves. It was falling, too, upon every part of the lonely churchyard on the hill where Michael Fury lay buried. It lay thickly drifted on the crooked crosses and headstones, on the spears at the little gate, on the barren thorns. His soul swooned slowly as he heard the snow falling faintly through the universe, and faintly falling, like the descent of their last end, upon all the living and the dead.
Very musical, very, as the sound, and I'm going to say something about this at the end, but I give you the translation first. So, a few light taps upon the pane, quindi alcuni leggeri colpetti, questo light non sta per luce ma leggero, alcuni leggeri colpetti contro il vetro lo fecero voltare verso la finestra. It had begun to snow again. Era di nuovo cominciato a nevicare. Osservava, he watched sleepily the flakes, silver and dark. Osservava assonnato i fiocchi, argentati ed oscuri, cadere obliquamente contro the lamplight, i lampioni. The time had come for him to set out on his journey westward. Era venuto il tempo per lui di andare westward, andare ad ovest. Sì, i giornali avevano ragione. Yes, the newspapers were right. La neve era dappertutto in Irlanda. Stava cadendo su ogni parte dell'oscura pianura centrale, sulle colline senza alberi, cadendo suavemente sul Bog of Ellen, era una pianura irlandese, e più lontano verso ovest, e delicatamente cadendo nelle oscure onde rivoltose dello Shannon. Allora, so what can we say as about the analysis? I can now stop the share and okay. So what can we say about the analysis? That there are two symbolic words. One is the snow, that of course is death, that is falling and paralyzing all Ireland, all the living creatures. And the other is the journey westward. Journey westward means go west. Andare ad ovest is another expression to say to go abroad. In fact, Joyce has moved to go to different cities because we have just mentioned is a feeling of alienation. So this go west is the symbol of the isolation of the artist, because Joyce didn't feel understood by his contemporaries. The last, well, it was, ok, quindi stava cadendo anche, it was falling too, line 38, quindi su ogni parte del solitario cimitero sulla collina in cui Michael Fury giaceva sepolto. Quindi, and the last three lines are probably considered one of the most beautiful of the 20th century literature because of the sound. I just read again. The snow lay thickly drifted on the crooked crosses and headstones, on the spears of the little gate, on the barren thorns. His soul swam slowly as he heard the snow falling faintly through the universe and faintly falling, like the descent of their last hand upon all the living and the dead. Quindi, traduzione. La neve giaceva fitta sopra le croci inclinate, sulle pietre tombali, sulle lance del cancello, sempre del cimitero, e sugli spogli roveti. La sua anima, his soul, sono gli ultimi tre versi, svaniva lentamente mentre udiva la neve cadere leggermente attraverso l'universo e leggermente cadere, questa è una struttura chiasmica, a chiasmo, come la discesa della loro ultima fine. Upon all the living and the dead, quindi su tutti i vivi e tutti i morti. So, in the end, in conclusion, what can we say? That the themes are love and loss, because Gabriel feels that he's losing his wife, Greta. The second thing is the consideration of the existence that Gabriel makes at the end and after this epiphany, after this discovery, that he prefers to be probably dead because before knowing the story of Michael Fury, he thought that dead people were just gone, put apart. But in Greta's mind, Michael Fury is more alive than him, who actually lives together with her. So he prefers to be dead because he's deader in Greta's mind than Michael, who is actually dead. The last consideration is the symbol of religious that Joyce makes in these two names, Michael and Gabriel. They are both two archangels, but Michael is the one who announces the birth of Jesus Christ to the Virgin Mary, so is a kind of a medium. It's not so important. It's gray, we could say. While on the other hand, Michael is very strong because he's the captain of the army, of the soldiers, angel of heaven. And that's is the same in this story, because Gabriel is a kind of shadow in Greta's mind, while Michael is really powerful and really strong in her mind, because it is also embodied on his surname, Fury, that with a different spelling, Fury, that is F-U-R-Y, means wild anger. So in the end, a dead man has won against a living one. So after the epiphany, Gabriel changes his mind and his consideration about the whole existence of life. So to say goodbye to you, I could I wanted to say goodbye just with this song that you've probably listened. So it's really melancholic. Now you understand Greta's feelings, and think about how many times a song has remind you about a person of your past that you loved, maybe someone who is not in your life anymore. So, if you be the last of our crew, as I